on Galaxy Today Live. My name is Olusegun Olabode Ajakai, and I work with Uranus Technology as the sales director. It's such a pleasure to have our audience here today. And today we'll be talking to you about the need for you to protect your data. And interestingly, we've seen over time in the industry, even in Nigeria, how data protection is very important to us as individuals. And the interesting part about it is that as people, as Nigerians, as Africans, because I believe this program will also be for people in diaspora as well too, we need to be able to protect our data from people who probably infiltrate into our gadgets or devices. And because this program speaks to you as individuals, as our audience, it speaks to you as lovers of this program to be able to understand why you need to protect your data, either data on your gadgets, data on your laptop, data on your phones, data on anywhere it is, even as little as having something just on your table. The need for you to be able to be more sensitive in quotes, and the need for you to be able to be prone to making sure that you understand what it takes to be able to protect your data. And that's why I'm always an advocate of, making sure that those data are kept and protected so as not to make, the guys of the, I'll say the underworld, in quotes, the Yahoo boys, infiltrate or get access to your data. A perfect example is, for instance, you have your phone and you're trying to send a particular information. How secured or how do you trust the channels of communication? How well is even your WhatsApp protected from a situation whereby someone get access to your WhatsApp? And that's why people who use that platform should be able to understand that there's something you call authentication, which requires you having a two-factor authentication around your data within that aspect. And the most important thing about it is also knowing fully well that when you have your data protected in that angle or in that area, it helps secure your information, whatever information you have there. Even when someone gets access to your phone, they need to have a 2FA. And 2FA meaning it will send a two level of or two layers of security, either through an SMS or an email to your phone. And I'm always an advocate of we trying as much as possible to take cautious effort to be able to protect our data anywhere we find ourselves. And interestingly, I think one thing we should also, remember is the fact that there needs to be more sensitization around why people need to protect their information, either from your ATM cards or from any channel of communication or any channel of transaction you find yourself. For a perfect example is this. Imagine you're trying to buy something online. How well do you trust that site? How well do you trust the fact that when you push your transaction or when you try to buy that thing, that particular site you're sharing your card information or your card detail is secured? And that's why it's important for people to take note of all those little things, scenarios or issues, because at the end of the day, it helps you become a secured citizen of Nigeria, and helps you also protect your money, your data, your information anywhere it sits. Another perfect example is also around how abreast are you with the necessary things you need to do when your data is being infiltrated, when your data is probably being exposed to the public? Do you know what you need to do? Do you know the necessary steps you need to take to be able to address those concerns? And that's why by asking questions, relevant questions, it helps you know how best to protect your information when it's been exposed, by the so-called infiltrators. And the interesting part about it is also the next person seated beside you can also have access to your data without you even knowing. So I'm an advocate of data protection, and for me, it's very important because the likes of NITDA, the likes of NCC, across all even within the banks as well too, they are all making necessary efforts to make sure they sensitize people in the public around the need for them to be abreast of the necessary things they need to do. Even CBN is also making sure that the banks are also, there are several policies they also bring out there in the public to make sure that these banks also help you protect whatever data you have within their environment. And the more reason why, if those institutions are taking those conscious efforts to release either those public communication channels of community or public information out there, the more reason why we as individuals need to get access to those publications, access to those information in the public, and use it to our advantage at the end of the day. And for me, it's always very important for us to take notes and conscious effort to be able to make sure we protect our data anywhere it sits. A perfect example is also, imagine you get a USSD message or an SMS, like we always say, and it says, "Dear customer, call 08023X," like pick a number there. Do you question those messages when you see them? Or do you just call the number because they say like once you call the number, you've won a certain amount of money? And it's important for our listeners and our viewers out there to be very, very conscious of all those tricks. Because at the end of the day, the bad actors or the threat actors are also doing what they need to do to update themselves with what is needed to be able to still get access or steal information from you, either your money, your documents, or your personal belongings in any way. And these guys, they devise different means. Sometimes they can even call you to tell you that, oh, release the PIN on your card. So you need to take conscious effort to be able to protect your data wherever it sits. And it's important as individuals for us to be able to take conscious effort to ask. And like I always say, across any form of any medium of communication, I always try to get myself involved with. Think before you click. Think before you act. It helps you ask questions, relevant questions. And if you don't trust that channel or that means of communication, simply tell the person, "I'll call you back." Go to the website of all those, probably the bank or anyone they are trying to tell you to send the number to, or the PIN code or whatever it is. Call the bank. No bank or no structured organization will ask you to release some certain information on your card or to release certain information about your password or your PIN code. So it's important for us to have those information. And at the end of the day, it helps us stay abreast of what we need to do to protect our data out there. And I've seen in many organizations out there, employees who just try to work on their laptops. And because they want to probably visit the convenience, they stand up and they leave their laptop exposed. I intentionally tell my HR guys, please use that person's laptop, send an email to probably the whole organization and let them see the need why they should be very, very careful when they are exposing their laptops and they don't lock their laptops. Because those little not being conscious can actually expose the company to a huge loss. And at the end of the day, someone who probably has an evil intention, a bad intention, will just get access to your laptop, get access to some confidential information which you're private to. And at the end of the day, your little act will expose the organization. So we need to be careful and understand how this information needs to be protected. Before you stand up from your desk, try as much as possible to put a password on your laptop. It's just as simple as you pressing Windows. Hell, it locks your laptop immediately. So my advice to all employees out there and all employers even out there, let this be part of the communication you release out there. The information security departments in all organizations, the IT departments in all organizations, the compliance department as well, to try as much as possible to sensitize your team to make them abreast of all this information, because it helps you protect your information and your data out there in the public. I hope to see you next time during our next segment. Thank you for watching today. Thank you. Follow us across all our social media channels at Galaxy TV. And also, you can follow me on my social media channels as well too. On LinkedIn, my name is Olusegun Olabode Ajakai. On TikTok, I'm Hayambode of Lagos. And across all channels, you'll find me out there as well too. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you.